Now let's have a look at this big announcement from the coalition today regarding their main energy policy. It reportedly involves a plan to identify locations for small modular nuclear reactors. Nationals leader David Littleproud spoke on Sky News this morning. He called on the government to hold an energy summit, but the Prime Minister has already basically smashed Peter Dutton's idea. Here's what Anthony Albanese had to say about it today.
Well, it doesn't add up. I think nuclear power can work overseas and does work. I've got no problem at all.
But what if there was a business model showing it could work? I mean, we've had people like our former Governor Kevin Scarce talking about how much money we could have made from nuclear waste disposal in SA. That's the disposal side. Some people say it could actually work economically.
Well, no one has ever been prepared to put up $1.
Liz, should the PM be ruling this out so early?
Well, maybe if he would lift the moratorium on nuclear energy in this country, there'd be plenty of people willing to put up $1. But right now, why would they bother when there just appears to be absolutely no chance? We need to see a flex in Parliament first, and that's exactly what Dutton is providing here. And that's such a simple brush off, absolutely no details as to why it's not feasible. They keep inferring, Bowen most especially, is that it's too expensive. I'd like to see something show me that it's actually proving would be more expensive than what we're bleeding out of every orifice paying for their subsidies for their renewables and their green dream and zero emissions by 2050 earlier if they can get it. And also they still keep inferring, Shari, that this is unsafe. As Bowen said just last week, you know, who would want one of these nuclear reactors near your home? I'm happy to live next to one. And to keep pushing that narrative to people that actually this is very unsafe is just downright untrue. Technology has advanced in leaps and bounds since Chernobyl. Hiroshima isn't a thing because we won't be building them on fault lines.
But
however, their arguments against this are so farcical and they can't back them up, which is why they do those silly brush-offs.
I mean, seeing as we're moving away from coal, it does make sense to diversify and broaden energy sources, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it does, or at least look at the options that are out there. Just very quickly, Hiroshima was a large bomb dropped from the US Air Force.
Fukushima.
I know that's what you meant.
Thanks,
but just before the letters start. But yes, I think, look, Albo was right that there have been, inquiries into this, and no one has been able to find a case study as to how it works. And what Bowen is saying is not that it's unsafe, but there are plenty of people who will be saying, we know we live in a NIMBY society at the best of times. There'll be plenty of people saying, yes, I support nuclear power. And then when someone says, all right, well, we're going to have a power plant down the end of your street, they go, oh, look, it's not that I'm opposed to nuclear, but it's just the traffic would be too much. And we've seen that happen with everything from, mosques to high-rise development.
To immigrants in the United States.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. So again, he's talking about the politics of it and the difficulties there. And again, I think there'd probably be political problems with the dumping of nuclear waste, where South Australia would say, right, we've got all this desert, nothing to do with it. Pretty soon, I'm sure you'd have objections from Indigenous groups or Get Up or whatever.
Well,
so it's just a thorny issue.
We already have nuclear waste here because obviously hospitals are already using this. So again, that's something that most people aren't aware of enough to know that it's already being taken care of in this country and is perfectly safe and fine. And when have you heard of it?
Yeah, again, I don't have a problem with it. But again, I don't think, from what I can understand, the numbers don't stack up yet. And that is because these small modular reactors, these SMRs that are called, the technology just isn't quite there yet to make it worth the upfront expense. Having said that, we know...
Well, we could argue the same with regard to renewables.
That's right, exactly. And we know with solar, once we just sort of pulled back, all the barriers and said, right, go for your life, suddenly solar panels shot down in price. There was a massive take-up.
At least if we were spending it on nuclear, we'd know that we were getting apples with apples, because we know that coal and nuclear are the same. They've got the base load, etc.
Yep.
Sorry, Shari.
Well, I just quickly wanted to get to this topic before we run out of time. Big story worldwide today that former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev is claiming that Germany is preparing for war with Russia. It comes after highly confidential British and French army intelligence regarding the Ukraine war was leaked by German officers. Liz, what do we know about this and how embarrassing is this for Berlin?
This is incredibly embarrassing. You literally can't believe this happened. It sounds... So they're on an unsecure video call. These guys literally just phoned in it. They're using their normal mobile phones to have this chat. The German lieutenant has talked about how the British are getting their weaponry into Ukraine. Literally, it's in these kind of tanks. And then he talks about how the French are doing it differently but successfully. He's then talking about how they can get their Taurus missiles, which Germany up to this point has expressed, no, we actually don't really want to send these. We've got some reservations. How can we do it without anybody noticing? So not only have you blown Britain's cover, you've blown France's cover, now you're actively talking about how can we get our missiles in there without the German people knowing. It's just one disaster after another. The more you look into this phone call, which is now a lot of it just chunks of verbatim, freely available on the interweb.
The best lesson to all of us, never speak on the regular phone line.
That's right, try WhatsApp. For the love of God.
Signal, phone call, WhatsApp.
Oh, China will love that.
That's right.
Use WhatsApp.
Russia's screwed anyway, that's the thing. It's like, sure, they said it, what are you going to do about it? As they say, Russia used to go around saying it had the best army in the world. Turns out it doesn't even have the best army in Ukraine. So if British and French and German forces are planning to do something, it's the Crimean War all over again.
Well, they're already doing it. Another one of his slip-ups was referring to British troops on the ground, which that's not supposed to be. That's not supposed to be what's happening right now.
I'm very much a whatever it takes kind of guy.
All right, Liz Storr, Joe Hildebrand, great to see you. We'll talk on the phone.